All right, let's get into it. Today we're going to unpack a huge idea, a story about progress and freedom that has a pretty shocking twist at the end. We're talking about the story of the Enlightenment.
So I want to start with a question that really gets to the core of all this. What if the very tool we created to set ourselves free actually ended up building a whole new kind of prison? I know, it sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, but some very smart thinkers argue it's actually the story of our modern world. To get how that could even be possible, we have to go back to the beginning. Let's start with the heroic promise of a movement that genuinely wanted to change the world for the better.
So what exactly was the Enlightenment? Well, try to imagine living in a time before modern science, a time when you didn't really know why the seasons changed or what made people sick. The world was full of unknowns, and because of that, it was full of fear. The Enlightenment was this incredible period where thinkers basically said, you know what? No more. Their whole goal was to use reason, logic, and science to free humanity from being terrified of the unknown. It's the same spirit that drives us today to understand everything from black holes to viruses.
Their main program had this really cool name, the disenchantment of the world. The plan was simple. Get rid of all the old myths, all the superstitions, all the monsters hiding in the shadows, and replace them with cold, hard knowledge. Because hey, if you can understand something, you don't have to be afraid of it anymore, right?
Thinkers like Francis Bacon were the rock stars of this idea. He's called the father of experimental philosophy because he was all about testing things out. He basically said, look, don't just trust what old books or authorities tell you. Go out there, run some experiments, and see for yourself. He believed that if we could just figure out the rules of nature, we could become its masters and use that power to build a better life for literally everyone.
So, this amazing idea gets put into practice, but this is where we start to see the first signs of trouble. Because when you have a tool that's powerful enough to do anything, it can be used for anything. And what starts to happen is that reason itself begins to change. It kind of splits in two. It goes from being a tool for understanding, asking why, just for the sure joy of knowing something, to being a tool for power. It started asking how. How can we do this faster? How can we make this more efficient? How can we control this?
And all of a sudden, everything in the world had to be measured, broken down, turned into a number. A forest wasn't just this beautiful, living thing anymore. It was a certain amount of lumber. Human emotions? Well, they became data points. I mean, think about it. Every single time you like a post online, it's not just you expressing a feeling. It's a piece of data being fed into a massive formula to predict what you'll buy next. The goal was pretty straightforward. If you can turn it into a number, you can control it.
And here we are. This is where the story takes that really dramatic turn. The heroic quest to control everything in order to set us free, it didn't just go wrong. It backfired big time.
This incredible line comes from a famous book called Dialectic of Enlightenment, written by two philosophers, Max Horkheimer and Theodor Adorno. They saw this dark side firsthand. What they're saying here is that even with all our incredible science and technology, the world was still filled with disaster. The project that was supposed to bring total freedom had somehow created a new kind of catastrophe.
So here's the paradox, the big trap. The drive to control everything on the outside, nature, society, you name it. It ended up creating these gigantic, complicated systems. And eventually, those very systems of control turned around and started controlling us.
And the result is what these thinkers called the administered world. Just think about any time you felt like you were just a number, a student ID, a customer profile, a statistic on a chart. You're part of this huge, efficient system, but your unique personality, your individuality, kind of gets flattened out. We built this perfect cage of logic and efficiency, only to realize we were the ones trapped inside.
So, we did it. We got rid of the old myths about dragons and spirits, but Horkheimer and Adorno argued that something new, and maybe even more powerful, quietly slipped in and took their place.
This new myth is called positivism. It sounds complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Think of it like this. It's like you're playing a video game and you just accept the rules. You never stop to ask, hey, who made these rules? Could they be better? Positivism is the myth that makes us accept the way our society works without question, just because, well, that's just the way things are.
And you see this myth everywhere today. It's in the algorithm that decides what news you see. It's in the standardized test that supposedly tells you how smart you are. It's any system that tells you to just follow the rules and not think too hard about whether the rules themselves actually make any sense.
So if we're stuck in this cage that we built ourselves, is there a way out? Well, the original thinkers believed there was, and the key, funnily enough, is hidden inside the problem itself.
The answer isn't to just throw away science and logic. That's impossible. No, the key is to use our most powerful tool, reason, in a totally new way. We have to turn it around and use it to look at itself and the various systems we've built. It's what we call critical self-reflection.
So true enlightenment isn't about gaining more and more power over the world. It's about understanding how that search for power changed us. It's about making the shift from just accepting what is, like how our social media feeds are designed, to bravely asking what could be. Like, how could we design them to actually make us happier and more connected?
And that really leaves us with a final thought to take with you. The Enlightenment gave us incredible gifts, there's no doubt about it. But its story is also a powerful warning. It teaches us that real, true progress means we have to constantly be willing to critically examine the things we build around ourselves. So the question for you is, what part of our modern progress do you think deserves a second look?